Well, hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a Zone 5B in mid-Michigan, and today we're going to take a stroll through the garden together. And I will tell you that we still haven't gotten any rain, but there is hope in sight. I do see that we have rain in the forecast this weekend a little later on, so hopefully we'll get about ½ an inch that will help all of the plants really perk up. I did have to get out my sprinklers this week to keep things going. All right, well, let's take a look around the garden and see what's blooming, because there's lots of new things in bloom this week. I'm so excited to show you. So I thought it would be fun to start in the front garden here, and right now we have some dianthus that are blooming. I got a lot of questions after our last video as to what these are, and these are the Telestar the Telestar Purple. I misquoted them as Telecoat Purple, but they are Telestar Purple dianthus, and I simply get them in a flat from my local nursery, and they are sold as an annual, so I get them for about under $20 for a flat of them, and it's a really great deal because they do come back every single year as a perennial for me here in my garden. We have lots of blooms going on in the front garden today. This is a full sun bed, and this is on the north side of my house, but it's a really long strip that's alongside the driveway, and we have some beautiful 9-barks that are blooming right now. These started blooming last week and they've continued to bloom. These are the tiny wine 9-bark. Aren't those beautiful? Such a soft, delicate look. We're getting some more blooms out of some of our containers in the back there. You can see the lobelia starting to bloom, and some of the bunnytail grass is actually starting to put on its bunnytails, so that's super fun. Now I do need to come through this garden bed and get some of the daffodil foliage out. I'm still working my way through this. Like I said, we've had some air quality alerts the last couple of days, and I also had a little medical procedure this week, so haven't been out in the garden as much, but we have some wonderful salvia blooms up front here. The May night salvia and the Caradonna salvia are still blooming from last week. I expect them to go over soon. I can cut these back and get more blooms out of them throughout the season, but they definitely are not blooming for as long because of the dryness that we are experiencing still. Here you can see more of those bunny tails on that grass. Isn't that cute? And we do have some blooms starting on these high voltage roses. It's another tiny wine 9-bark here. And the peonies are blooming. They have continued to do pretty well with their blooms. We have the light colored ones and the pink ones. And then we also have some dark colored ones back here. They all smell wonderful, but again, I don't think those have lasted very long because of the heat and the lack of rain, but they've been a beautiful addition this week. Now this garden bed, we're starting to have some new blooms. We have the blooms on this beautiful black lace elderberry. They have such pretty pink blooms. And after this one is done blooming, I will prune it up. So I'm growing this one as a small tree form. And so I will be trimming up some of the lower branches and kind of shaping the top as it grows on. And we have some pretty penstemon along here. I thought it was all the Pikes Peak, but we also have Pikes Peak purple. We also have some Rocky Mountain red, I believe, in here. So those are looking really nice, and those do have also a really nice long bloom season, so I love growing the penstemon with their little bell-shaped flowers. The bees and pollinators definitely enjoy them as well. Unfortunately, the blooms on the blue muffin viburnum lasted only about 4 days. I think they're really stressed from the sunshine and the lack of rain. And so they have dried up pretty much completely already after less than a week. I'm also afraid they might be getting attacked by that viburnum beetle that got the ones in my back garden. Now on the other side of this garden bed, I just want to show you real quick that we do have some roses back here that are blooming on the neighbor's side. So as you drive up to my house from this side before pulling in the driveway, there are some beautiful Oscar Peterson roses over here with these nice white blooms. All right, well, let's take a look at the other sun garden bed that we have out front here. Again, this one is lined with the beautiful Telstar purple dianthus on the edge. So you can see it is really in full bloom right now and is doing great. And we're getting a lot more blooms from the salvia. The deutzia are pretty much in full bloom. So we have the Yuki cherry blossom deutzia on the right here, which definitely is looking like it needs some water. And we have the dreamland geranium on the left. And then we have some beautiful different kind of salvia that I like to use throughout here in this garden bed, because I think they kind of paint a bit of an impressionistic, colorful picture in this garden. We have a couple more irises that are blooming. That's His Royal Highness over there, the purple. And the bobo hydrangeas are looking good. They have not been harmed by this drought at all. We have some Allium schubertii right here, putting out their fireworks spread. Those are super fun. And I still have to come in and kind of shape up these orange rocket barberries. You can see after about a week, these Veronica are starting to go over, but we still have some beautiful blue blooms on them. I got a lot of questions about what this plant was, so I'll just repeat it here. This is the Venice Blue Veronica. And I really enjoy it in the garden, and I can see why I got a lot of questions about it, because there aren't a lot of true blue flowers that are out there to choose from, so it's always fun to have additional options. And I love sharing information with you guys and hearing information from you guys back. So the viburnum is doing really well that we have. It's a low growing viburnum. And then the bobo hydrangeas on this side, because they face the south, I did need to give them a little drink. I have come through with some of the small dianthus. They have a little bit of stress on them. These are the babies I planted after we pulled out those picotee, but they will be just fine. They look a little sun stressed, like I said, because of the dryness, but they've been watered on. I just didn't clip off the spent blooms and kind of their rough looking foliage. So you can see I've just dotted them throughout this garden bed here, and they will line this really beautifully and provide a nice pop of color in front of all of the other plants that are growing in here. And that's more of that Venice Blue Veronica right there. I just want to give you a little quick view of the Jetstream hydrangea. This is an oak leaf hydrangea. It has wonderful four-season interest. And just look at all of the bloom buds that are on this. They're getting bigger and bigger. I can't wait to see it bloom. I've only ever had one bloom on that plant, so this year I think it's going to be great. Now I do want to point out that in this new garden bed, those things that we planted before we extended it are doing great. We have some bedazzled hostas in here, which just remain really small and beautiful clumps. And then we have that Paint the Town Magenta dianthus, which is just going to be a beautiful, beautiful continuous bloom for quite some time. Up near the front of the house here, our hostas are doing great. And we have our foxgloves in full bloom now, and they are looking so beautiful. We have some in the back garden as well that I'll be showing you. And that pink sparkler spirea back here is putting on its pink sparkles. So that's really pretty. And all of the hostas continue to do well. Hostas are a great plant during droughts. I find that they last quite a long time. They're pretty strong rooted. If you've had them in the ground for a few years, you usually don't have to worry about them. So I really have not had to come through and do any watering in this bed. So I'm really happy about that. I rarely get out the sprinkler to water my garden because I like for it to care for itself, and I don't like having to use the extra water on plants. But This year I definitely had to do some. So everything is really lush and full right now in this garden bed. The lily of the valley is really big this year, so it's hard to see separations between some of the shrubs in this garden bed, but they are there, and some of them are going to be getting quite a bit bigger. So like this viburnum here will get to be about 8 feet tall, so that one will continue to grow. That one though was planted last year, so I have had to give it some water. And look at this cute brick bed. I think it turned out really nice. We have some herbs in it. We have rosemary, and we have the variegated basil plant. And in between those, we have that Verbena bernariensis, which I think is starting to send up its bloom stalks. And then on the sides, we have the beautiful ranunculus that we grew from corms this winter and planted out. And I just think they are lovely. And that's the secret garden mix that I got. And then the lobelia is a beautiful electric blue, isn't it? Another true blue flower, but this one for me is just an annual. But it was really easy to grow from seeds, so I'm probably gonna try growing it again. This garden bed's looking great with the exception of the black lace elderberry that is behind the bird bath. I think it has verticillium wilt. You will see if we look at this side, some dead branches, and that's pretty much what it looks like when it starts. I haven't really gotten back there to look at it closely. It could be something else happened at the base of the plant, but right now that's what I'm thinking it is, because it is definitely a plant that's susceptible to verticillium wilt, and if that's the case, eventually the plant will die. And if that's the case, I will also be replacing it with something else. All right, let's check out the way back, or the back garden now. So here we are in the potege, and you can see I have some stuff out that I haven't taken care of, but let's just look past that for now at the flowers. We have some beautiful onions that are going to flower. And these make some of the most beautiful flowers. So onions are just another part of the allium family. So even though you might have ornamental onions that are grown for their flowers mainly, while these are edible, they also will produce very beautiful and showy blooms. We have some roses that are blooming, and just a couple irises left over here. Now I cannot believe it, you guys. I'm a little distraught about this, but I came out and tried to protect my strawberries by putting little bags over them, because I had lots of strawberries that are ripening, and the chipmunks and squirrels literally came through and pulled them all off, or they chewed the strawberries and sucked the juice out from the outside of the bag. Isn't that crazy? So I think I'm going to have to get out my chicken wire cloches and try to protect them that way. Otherwise, they're just gonna eat them all. So the garden's looking really nice. Just give you guys a little pan of the back garden from here and what it looks like right now. Lots of wonderful blooms coming through. And we'll just move over here to the lady garden. And I have to say right now, this is very flowerific, isn't it? With the dianthus out front. We then have some catmint over to the right. We have a begonia in her hair, and the bowl of beauty peonies are doing so well back behind her. Then we have some foxglove also that are starting to bloom in this garden bed. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. I can't wait to see how everything does after we get a little bit of rain, because it really does make a big difference. Now here we also have another deutzia in bloom. Isn't that pretty? And the phlox are getting ready to bloom. So we have some of these phlox that are early bloomers. They usually bloom actually towards the end of May, but I think they have been late this year because of the fact that it has been so dry. They are part of the opening act series from Proven Winners. And then we still have some more of that Telstar purple dianthus. The groundhog is eating all of the flower buds off of my cone flowers, you guys. Ah, that's so frustrating. Now these shrubs right here, these are the coralberry shrubs. And these are the candy coralberry shrubs that are by First Editions. And you can see that the Boom Chocolata geranium is starting to bloom. It's gorgeous. I love the dark foliage with those light purple blooms on top. It's a wonderful contrast. We have some more dianthus and sage or salvia in this garden. And we have cleaned up the foliage here. I don't know if these cardinals are fighting or what. What, is there a nest? Am I near your nest or something? I don't know what's going on. Okay. So we have some really nice plants in here that I am also seeing being eaten by the groundhog. But I did come through and clean up the daffodil foliage, so I'm happy that's taken care of. And I pulled out some variegated dianthus and put in that Telstar purple right here. So we've got a few little ones that'll mature over the next year. What's flowering right here is called Dame's Rocket or Hesperus matronalis, and it can be invasive if you don't cut it back after it blooms, and it seeds all over the place, so I definitely get right on that after it's done blooming. Now you can see that the lungwort is really starting to come out. I think it will do much better after we get a rain though. We're starting to get buds on this hydrangea. This is a smooth hydrangea, the Bar Harbor type. And we have buds on the pink diamond hydrangea standard over here. And we're starting to see some good growth on our baskets here. I'm liking those impatiens. Again, some really nice healthy hostas that are doing well despite the lack of rain. And this Pieris definitely likes its new position. This is the Scarlet O'Hara Pieris, and you can see the beautiful light green growth on it. That's all new this year. The Brunnera have really leafed out, so those have gotten much bigger now. And over here we have the Allium Schubertii, pretty much in full bloom at this point with their galactic star show, and the beautiful butterfly flower here, the Scabiosa. Before we keep going in the woodland garden, I would like to take you to check out the half moon garden over here, because wow, it has changed this week. We have the white dianthus over here. We have the Burlow rose, or it might be the New Dimension pink salvia up front. We've got this lady's mantle that is blooming now. And the high voltage rose is starting to bloom. Isn't that pretty? It's such a buttery yellow. So gorgeous. We have buds all over it. And look how big the hibiscus is getting. These are the evening rose hibiscus. We're definitely getting a lot of new growth on the Tien Shen 7 sunflowers, and that is exciting to me. So I continue to prune these up into a tree form, and they are really starting to take shape. So we're going to have this nice tall pillar of the Rose of Sharon with the Tien Shen next to it. But look, you guys, in all of its glory at this Red Riding Hood penstemon. I mean, just look at that. It has just been going so strong despite the lack of rain. So beautiful. I hope to be able to divide this this fall and make more of this against this back privet, because I think it looks absolutely stunning. We have some more Allium Schubertii back in the corner here. And the blueberry bushes that are in this garden bed unfortunately are losing their berries because of the lack of rain. But I have these roses to console me, because look at how pretty these are. Oh, I just love them. They're so soft looking. They smell good too. So, so pretty. And you can see our elephant ears are getting just a little bit bigger in this pot, and so are the geraniums. So they're doing well. Well, let's continue our tour now down into the woodland garden. And the Japanese maple here is doing great. And the Pinky Winky is well leafed out. I've not seen any buds on it yet, but let's check again today and see. Nope, not yet. That is one of the later bloomers. Isn't this all gold Hakona Chloe grass beautiful? Such a statement piece in the garden. Now I did have to come back in through here and actually use the sprinkler as well. Things were looking a little bit limp, with the exception of the hostas, which seemed to be quite happy. But I am excited to show you that we have lots more bloom buds on these jet stream hydrangeas, and they are getting so much bigger. I think they're going to begin to open up this week. We might start to see a little bit of white on them. We have another one over here. The leaves on them are getting much bigger as they mature, so that's fun too. Look at the beautiful blue hosta. Isn't that gorgeous? The Brunera is doing pretty well over here, leafing out also. This is just the Jack Frost variety. And we have some beautiful foxglove on the corner of this garden bed also. I love the speckling on these. We have pink and we have white. And this was just a mix that I grew from seed. And so because they are biennials, last year there was no flower on them, but this year, flowers everywhere. And we have some buds coming on the music box rose over here. That should be fun. We have some buds on the Annabelle hydrangea in the back as well. And the dark side of the moon astilbe that we planted is doing really good back there. You can see the Aurelia, the Sun King Aurelia, starting to get big. I did cut back the Heaven Sent Jacob's Ladder right here. So I think that one will flush back out with some beautiful foliage after it rains. And I have some ultra pink phlox in here that has some buds on it. Another task that I need to get on is pruning these boxwoods. I like to keep them in a fairly nice compact sphere. So we need to come in here and kind of trim those up, but that shouldn't be too hard. I'll have to do a good go round, and I'm also going to come through and get the chives. I wanted to do that a little bit earlier this week, but like I said, we ran into some challenges this week with the air quality and some medical issues, so. How about these foxgloves, you guys? Oh, they're taller than me. This middle spike has got to be, I don't know, 5.5 feet tall. So amazing. So amazing that you can just grow something like that just from a seed. And this garden bed is looking really lush and full. In fact, I'm probably going to come through and trim some leaves off of these August moon hostas, which are the limey green ones, so that you can see the heucheras a little bit better. and they can get a little bit more sun, because the mahogany monster heucheras do like the sunshine. Now the new growth on this spruce is kind of beginning to weep over, so I'm liking the habit that that is taking on. And we have the apples on the apple tree getting nice and big, and these the bags seem to be staying on. Nothing seems to be pulling them off yet. I have a couple apples that are not in bags, but we'll see how they do. I might still bag them yet. This garden bed continues to provide lots and lots of color with the catchfly blooming. I think it's just about done with the blooms on the catchfly, but then it's starting to change over to this dusky violet penstemon. Sometimes I get that backwards. Sometimes I'm not sure whether it's dusky violet or violet dusk. Anyways, it's beautiful. And just look at this April night salvia. You can sit here and just watch the bees, you know, coming in and getting the nectar. They are so full. Just smothered in blooms. The back to the fuchsias look like they are beginning to slow down. So probably within the next week or so, I will also need to give those a cut back so that they will continue to bloom. But I think things are looking really good, and they have weathered this drought quite well so far. I haven't actually really lost much. So over in this garden bed right now, we definitely have some dry spots because the arborvitaes really like to suck up the water. So the hydrangeas are definitely trying to compete with them for the water, and I've had to water them quite a few times, especially this limelight over here because I planted it last fall, so it doesn't have really strong root development yet. Now I've just begun cutting back some of the chives in this border, so I have a ways to go. You'll see little piles of things that I haven't picked up yet along the way. Look at all of the buds on this daisy. Those are going to open up soon. I was hoping to show you this checkmark trilogy in bloom, but you can see that the weigelas really have struggled with their blooms this year. Every single one of them has either not opened their blooms fully because they were kind of dried shut, or they bloomed for a very short period of time. But that's okay. Overall, that won't affect the life of the plant. It's just it trying to preserve itself. This area faces west, which is where the hot, dry winds come across the pool and hit all of this foliage and plants directly. So I have had to come through and water this garden bed as well quite a bit. Now you can see we're starting to get amazing blooms on the Eden Rose, and I'm really hoping that this rain that we're supposed to get this weekend is going to come in time so that these blooms don't just completely fade away and that we really get to enjoy them for more than just a few days. Lots of blooms on this daisy as well. Sweet Daisy, Birdie Daisy. And another Yuki Cherry Blossom Deutzia here. Lots more color in this garden bed. We still have these Violet Riot salvias going strong up against all of these lime shrubs. This is the Limoncello Barberry. And I still need to trim those back, you guys. I feel like I'm behind. I don't know why, but I feel like I haven't had much time this year. And we're getting the blooms all over this little Devil 9 bark. Aren't these gorgeous? So, so pretty. I love that. I planted it back behind these two arborvitae just on purpose so that it could grow up and spill through. It should continue to get quite a bit larger. So we may even see it come out from behind the sides of the arborvitae as well. That'll be fun. Now my blue spruce sedum is getting ready to bloom. It will bloom a pretty bright yellow flower. So we'll see that in the coming week. And we have some more penstemon blooming over here. Here's another beautiful blue flower. This one is called pristine blue penstemon. And next to it we have pristine pink penstemon. I'm hoping to continue to grow those on as well and to make more divisions of those. And you can see the can-do hydrangea back here has flower buds all over it. I'm looking forward to seeing what color those bloom. The pink marvel salvia right here, or I'm sorry, the rose marvel salvia right here is gorgeous. And I mean, there are bumblebees and sweat bees and regular bees, all sorts of bees everywhere in my garden because they just love the salvias. They're happy to be on the spireas, and there's just many, many things that are flowering that they enjoy in the garden. So I did have to come through and really give some moisture to these hostas. They're the only ones that are struggling because they are newer hostas and they are fighting against the roots of this arborvitae. So I think if we can get the water evened out, that they should be just fine. But let's look over here, shall we? Towards the fountain and at some more roses that I love. These are all the rage roses, and they are like a coral, beautiful peachy coral color. Next is some gorgeous foxgloves. And we have the Globemaster alliums as well. So pretty. And I'm really excited about how this corner is looking. You remember last week it just all looked green, and now look at it. We have this gorgeous rose backed by this beautiful mock orange. And this mock orange smells wonderful. And then back behind it we have that multi-blue clematis. And I think they all just, that color combination looks really, really pretty, doesn't it? I just love it. I still have my pansies out. I have been watering those pretty much every other day. And the salvias over here are starting to go over. So we'll also be cutting those back. But if you look closely at those as well, you still continue to see all sorts of bumblebees and pollinators all over them. We're getting some good buds now on our hydrangeas. These are the incredible hydrangeas with the geranium coming through them. And let's take a look at our little garden path over here because I think that's looking beautiful too. Soon we'll have our opening phlox right here opening. We have some blue marvel salvia, the cousin to the rose marvel, with its beautiful big blooms. We have some more of it back here. And the Mongolian Bell's clematis, which is kind of a stand-up clematis, the first set of blooms is going over at this point, but they're super cute. I just wanted to show you real quick these containers as well that we planted up this spring with the neon sedum and the Secret Garden mix ranunculus with the hydrangea And this beautiful soft bunny tails grass. I think that one turned out really pretty. And then over here we have the Angelina sedum and a PG hydrangea cutting. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I just caught a breeze of the scent of this mock orange. It smells so good. I think this one's called Snow White. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this garden tour. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys are staying safe and you're not suffering too much from the air pollution, and I hope that your gardens are starting to get the water that they need if they need it, or even starting to get the sunshine if you need it too. Happy gardening, and we'll see you next time.